In the state of Florida, hair discrimination offenses should be considered a hate crime. In Duval County, the Crown Act activist who plans to investigate these crimes and vicious offenses is me, Dannette Patrice, owner of Simply Deviine Natural Hair Lab. Today, I'm presenting you a few facts. Simply Deviine Natural Hair Lab is bringing charges against the state of Florida. Many Floridians, which are my clients, are still being persecuted for factors that are completely out of our control, and I'm talking about race and genetics. Florida policymakers want us to believe that we are in a racially colorblind state who upholds Dr. King's 60-year-old dream of a nation who doesn't judge by the color of one's skin, but by the content of one's character. And clearly, as we live our Black experiences every day, we know that's a lie. But every time these people, bring up the I Had a Dream speech, they forget to mention the beginning of the speech where he called America out on her BS for not standing on her promise. She promised that all men, meaning Black men, Black women, and Black children, are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, which includes life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, 60 years later, African Americans are still victims of systematic racism. This time, we have different triggers, or I'm addressing a different type of trigger. And it's due to the racial hair bias and discrimination. Studies show that African Americans are disproportionately affected and immediately disqualified due to the style, the color, or the texture of their hair, but not their competence, their qualifications, character, or skill set, and this is unconstitutional. Florida still upholds the nappy hair stigma that America has cursed us with, and this is why we need to do our part and decriminalize natural hair. I'm gonna just take a moment and I'm gonna define what it means to decriminalize, but this is why we have to get behind the policymakers and the legislators who have our best interest at heart, because I have 2 young children, and I'm sorry, with everything in me, I'd be doggone if they are going to live their life being discriminated because of how we choose to express ourselves, or they have a mother who is walking around confident and as bold as she want to be with blue hair. You don't think that awesomeness, that sauce, that swag, that confidence, that amazingness isn't rubbing off on my kids? Of course it's rubbing off on them, and I personally plan to empower them to have the courage, the nuts, the balls, the bravery, the godfidence, the confidence, all of that, to tell people that they're wrong and to address it, and not to stand back and just continually to let white supremacy, systematic racism, critical race theory, whatever you want to call it, scare us or continue to make us have the get down and lay down mindset that white Americans expect for us to have. But anyway, decriminalization is a verb that eliminates criminal penalties or removes legal restrictions, but just because something is decriminalized doesn't make it legal. Legalize is a verb that makes a thing lawful or gives us authority. So would you agree that if natural hair were legal in the state of Florida, that it would then require companies to revisit and revise their codes of conduct and dress code policies to create a culturally responsive or more collaborative work environment? Yes or no? What if I told you that protection was on the way? But again, in order for us to have this protection, we have to exercise our rights as citizens of these United States of America, and we have to vote this protection into place. The current struggle that we're having right now is getting the Crown Act passed here in Florida. The Crown Act is a law which stands for creating a respectful and open World for Natural Hair. This law prohibits race-based hair discrimination, which is the denial of employment and educational opportunities because of hair's texture or protective styles, which includes braids, locks, twists, or bantu knots. This campaign is led by the Crown Coalition, and it is founded by Dove, the National Urban League, Color of Change, and Western Center on Poverty and Law. History proves that the term nappy hair has been used as a derogatory term to describe tightly coiled hair texture, primarily associated with Black people, and they're comparing us to the nap on a piece of a cotton. Like, how disrespectful were these slave masters, or, you know, the people who are Eurocentric values and standards were head after. This stigma has a negative stereotype and discriminatory attitudes towards natural hair, suggesting that it is unkempt, unprofessional, or undesirable. Individuals with nappy hair have often faced societal pressure to conform to straighten or chemically altered hairstyles in order to be deemed acceptable or professional in certain environments. And again, that's another problem, because here, like at Simply Deviine Natural Hair Lab, we have curated an ecosystem that allows us to partner with our natural clients, and this allows us to understand their hair goals, assess their hair insecurities, and providing a variety of natural hair care services, and create a customized plan of action to follow. But before we can create that customized action plan, I have to deal with one's mindset. I have to deal with their triggers. They might have had societal triggers or like career triggers where in order to work in a certain environment, their hair had to be straightened, whether they wanted their hair straightened or not. And just because I'm a natural stylist by trade, like, I'm not anti-chemically altered hair. Like, there's nothing wrong with relaxers. I'm not here to bash the relaxers, but whatever you do, it should be a choice. And these policies are so unfair and they're so outdated that they haven't evolved with the times. Or even certain people, I've heard different stories where my clients have told me about somebody's expressed how their hair has so much volume. Like, dang, just because your hair thin and it's not that full and we're not working with the same type of curl pattern, like, my volume is a problem. Like, that's the way that God created us. So you're having a problem with me, to me it's like a deeper problem. Like, you have a problem with my identity, you have a problem with the way that I'm formed. So, you know, these little rules and policies, they mean so much more. They mean so much more. But anyway, are you aware of the new laws that went into effect like July 1st? Some of them took place again, like for real, July 1st of this year, but like July 1st of last year is when the particular law that I'm about to speak on really like took effect. Out of all of these laws that the state of Florida has enacted, all 200 of them, can you believe that we still don't have protection against like race-based hair discrimination? The current federal law prohibits racial discrimination against afros under the 14th Amendment, but not the various texture styles that African American men, women, and children wear today.